Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we finally won our first Stanley Cup, and it was a very long time coming. It took like 15 seasons for us to finally get that first cup, and it only came down to like the last a few minutes of the game when Connor McDavid scored the cup-winning goal, and we finally won. And then he eventually would retire after that as well. So Connor McDavid was like a one-season hero for us, and also the rest of the team also played pretty good in those entire playoffs, and I'm really hoping that this team can maybe go on a tear and go to the cup finals again soon. Maybe we could go for a repeat, who knows, but this is going to be probably another tough off season, and we might lose some key players, but I will show you guys the player stats for those playoffs again, just because why not as well do a little bit of a recap on that Stanley Cup winning series. So as you can see, Matthews had 27 points in 22 playoff games. He was our best player, arguably, but he was a -6, which is a little bit bad, but he still had a pretty good postseason, considering the regular season was one of his worst in the last few seasons. So yeah, he was pretty good. He was shooting 25%, and yeah, most of his points came on the power play. And then UC Kolymainen was also pretty good, almost point per game. He also did better than he did during the regular season to an extent, because regular season-wise, he only had 50 points in 82 games. Very impressed with him in that playoffs. And he also dropped down again to an 82. So I'm kind of getting worried about my contract that I gave him, because he is signed for 3 more years at 11.7, which might be a little bit iffy. Phil Powell had 12 points in 22 games, only 2 goals, but he still did help out offensively. And then Calvin Hobbs, only 6 points, but he was playing pretty much only on the fourth line, and I think maybe some penalty kill minutes. And then if we go to the left wingers, Amir de Kaiser, who we brought in from the Vegas Golden Knights a few years ago, was really good, 21 points in 22 games. George Hillis, who we signed, had 7 points in 22 games, which is pretty good, considering this guy never played an NHL game before this season. This was his first season ever in the NHL, and he's a Stanley Cup champion. He was not getting utilized well by Minnesota because he actually played preseason games with them, but he would never crack their roster, so he only stayed in Iowa for like the last, I'd say, 7 or so years. So his first season, he's a Stanley Cup champion. Michael Wong, who was an undrafted player of ours, won the Stanley Cup as well. Only had 11 points in the regular season, 4 points in the playoffs. He was a -5, but he did put up a game-winning goal. He shot 18.2% because he doesn't shoot a lot of pucks, but very impressed with this guy getting that huge game-winning goal. I forget what series it was in, but still he came out in the right time. And then Stefan Bouillon. This guy's been a machine for us for the last 2 years. We brought him in from Nashville. He had 16 goals in 22 playoff appearances with 24 points. He was only a +1, but he did his really good job offensively. During the regular season, he kind of struggled by comparison to previous 3 seasons because he had like 50 goals almost in every one of those seasons. He dropped down to 39 goals, but he had still 77 points and then was over point per game in the postseason, so very impressed with that. I do think he is going to start to drop off a lot because he's now an 85 and he's 30 years old, and I think most top 9s that go in the second round that simulate well retire around 35 years old, so we might not have a lot left to win for another Stanley Cup with Stefan Bouillon. Caden Demon, 22 points in 22 games. The 26-year-old got an extension during the regular season, and yeah, he started panning out the rest of the season. Like, he had, how much points was it? He had 57 points, so his point production also went down, but postseason wise he was point per game, which was really great to see. 7 points on the power play as well. And then Andrew Garrison, who's another undrafted player, I think, or did we sign this guy? Apparently we drafted this guy, but I thought I remember picking him up as an undrafted player, but I'm completely wrong with that. So Andrew Garrison was a 5th round pick of ours, a very good player as well. 17 points in the regular season, but then he stepped it up in the postseason with 10 points in 22 games. Excited to see what he could do next season. And then Nikita Alexandrov in his rookie season, 5 points in 22 games. Not very good, but I mean, he did do somewhat good defensively. And he also, I think, he had some decent takeaway numbers in the regular season. And then in the playoff-wise, he actually played pretty good takeaway-wise as well. So that's that. And then defensively, Wallen and Stewart have been like a very good pairing for many years, and they play great together. Biggs was great. Larson was pretty solid, but he was losing a little bit of morale. And then Savonin and Acker were okay as well. So our defense was not as good as I would like it to be, but we did still win the Stanley Cup, so I'm not going to complain. And then there is our goaltending tandem of Gustavo Nickel, who wins the Stanley Cup in his first season with us, but he probably won't come back this offseason just because he wants a lot of money. But Puno has played a little bit. He didn't play that great, but he is going to probably be the goalie we re-sign this offseason. So anyways, that's a little bit of a recap going into the draft. We do have one comment I'd like to go over before we get into that, and that is from Hawksfan88. He says, we finally done it with some champagne bottles, and yes, I agree, we finally won a Stanley Cup. I also actually asked him a little bit about wonder what we should do contract-wise this offseason with all the players. He says, I think you should be able to re-sign all of your key players. Also might need a replacement for McDavid, obviously because McDavid retired. And then he says, though, that we should just re-sign Puno since he's the younger goalie. And then he said to maybe give him like 3 years. So we're going to try and get Puno's on a 3-year deal when we get to the re-sign stage, and hopefully he doesn't want too much because there's other guys like Stewart that are going to take priority probably over him. So anyways, let's get into this draft and add some more young prospects to our pool. And yeah, then we'll get to the re-sign stage, which will probably be pretty tough for this team, as we are picking at number 31 for the first time. Let's see even what goes around 31, because I don't even know if I looked at the end of the last episode. I think I did, but I don't remember, to be honest, because it was a long time ago that I actually recorded that Stanley Cup Finals episode. I pre-recorded them all, so all those episodes you guys were seeing when I was commenting back, hopefully we can win the Stanley Cup, I already knew that we won the cup. So I did pin, I think, some players, but I think they're all supposed to go later. Yeah, they're supposed to go later, but we might take one of them. Okay, let's see what Arizona takes at number 1 anyways. So Arizona at number 1 is going to take Amir Ward, who's an 83 overall playmaker. That's pretty good. Yeah, this guy looks like a stud already. That's a really good pick for Arizona. Oh yeah, and I was actually looking, and Boston's been a horrible team in this. Like, I mean, legit one of the worst teams I've ever seen. They've only made the playoffs 2 times, and they were the first 2 seasons of this franchise mode, apparently. And then also, most of the players that have been there since the beginning, like Charlie McAvoy, he's like a minus 280 something in his career, and he had a minus 84 in one season. So Boston is a really bad team, but they probably are going to make it back to the postseason soon, it looks like, because they are trending in the right direction. So anyways, Montreal number 2 takes Goldman. Interesting, a defenseman. Probably something that they actually do need, so that makes sense, I guess. Minnesota takes Hargrave, a 2-way forward, another 80 overall, so this draft might not be as good overall-wise, but still some decent players. New Jersey at number 4 is going to take Klimchuk, who's another 80 overall playmaker, and at number 5 is going to be Plus, who's at 78, so yeah, this draft might not be that great, but there is that pick for the LA Kings in Sylvain Plus. It's kind of a weird name because Plus is actually a Swiss player's last name, and then Sylvain obviously a French name, so I don't know if this guy's from Quebec or he's from Switzerland, but those are the top 5. Let's sim to our pick at 31 and see what we could get. Hopefully we don't get stuck with a top 9 D or a top 6 forward. Not that we really need much prospects at this stage, but we could always use some just because if we want to stay competitive for the rest of this franchise mode. So Woywitka does not look good enough to me, even though the scout recommends, and Chair I don't know anything about, so I think I might just go with one of the guys I pinned, which would be Cameron Schumacher. He's a 17-year-old. Yeah, he looks pretty solid. Yeah, I'm going to go with Cameron Schumacher here. No question about it, even if it is a little bit early. The other guys just didn't look as good to me, so yep, Schumacher is a top 6, 67 sniper, and he's a centerman. That's pretty good. His attributes look pretty decent as well. I mean, he needs to work on a lot of other stuff, but his shooting looks pretty good, so that's actually not a bad pick. Hopefully that guy pans out. Since he's only 17 and 67, he might end up being pretty decent, so that was a really good pick for the end of the first round. Let's get to our second round pick here now. I don't think we have any more of those pin guys available. Oh, there's still the Kaiser. He's supposed to go next round early on. Oh yeah, I definitely got to take Ali to Kaiser. He's 20 years old, though, is the only problem, so he might be a low top 9, but with a great overall. But yeah, I'm going to just take Ali to Kaiser. Even if he is an overager, might as well. I hate how when you're the 31st overall pick, it automatically just skips it to the next round. So he's a low league grinder. So that's actually a pretty good pick. We do need some grinders eventually because we have Wong, but we don't really have that kind of physical player on our team, which is something that we could potentially use for the playoffs. But there you go, there's Ali de Kaiser. There's another guy that you're going to see a couple years probably of, because we don't have a whole lot of time left in this franchise mode. Like, I think we only have like 10 more seasons since we just did 15 seasons. So yeah, we're running a little bit low on time. Let's into our next pick at the end of the third round. Actually, in the middle of the third round. This must be somebody else's pick. Corey Martinook, don't know anything about you. Byron Jaquizi, it's a funny last name though. Andrei Zikov. I could auto-sim the rest of the draft soon. Cioflito is apparently listed as a gem, and he's a low top 6. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Jonathan Cioflito. It's a weird last name. We'll take him, since he's a gem, might as well. And he's a low top 6, 65 overall, so this guy might end up being like a top 6 forward at some point if he develops well, but pretty good attributes across the board, very even player. Let's into our next pick in the 4th round. Angelo Anthony. That's actually kind of funny, because isn't there a player called Anthony Angelo that plays for Pittsburgh? Like, this guy's like this complete reverse name. Yuri Novoseltsev. Any interesting players? This guy's not going to be a franchise player. There's no way in question that's going to happen. Any low leads though? Maybe this dude, Dean Harrington, who's 20 years old. Yeah, he doesn't look the greatest, to be honest. Because he's only 20, he's probably like a low top 9. I might just auto-sim the rest of this draft, to be honest. Yeah, I think I might just take a... Yeah, I'm going to auto-sim the rest of this, I think. The scout recommends, though, Mario Henrique, Charles Pavelski, and Sean Sexton. Don't really know anything about Sean Sexton. Well, I do, but he doesn't look great. Who was the other one? Pavelski, we don't really know much about him, and he doesn't look good right now. And Mario Henrique doesn't look very good. So I think we're just going to auto-sim the rest of this draft. It doesn't really matter too much if we don't get good prospects, because we are going to be probably still a competitive team next season unless we lose somebody key in this offseason. So after Cioflito, the computer grab says Tunnell, Clymer, Meach, and Malkin. But I think the rest of that draft was probably a crapshoot anyways. Let's go to the re-sign stage. We do got to re-sign our coach. So hopefully our coach comes back, and yeah, we definitely need him back. Oh, he wants a lot of money. We don't have the budget. Oh, I hate that. I think I got to fire our AHL head coach then right now. Yeah, I got to fire. Can I fire this dude? Yeah, I'm going to fire the AHL head coach for now. Which might be a little dumb thing to do because the AHL head coach has been good. But I do need to have enough to get this guy. I might even not be able to get him back. Let's try and get him back. If I just fired the AHL head coach for no reason, that would be kind of dumb. But we might have to fire, or we might have to find a new head coach for next season, which would really suck after winning the Stanley Cup. Kind of do like the Barry Trotz method, you know. So we are going to have to re-sign our NLA scout. We need actually to get a lot more scouts. Yeah, it's something we might need to do in the next episode because we are running low on scouts, and that may be why we don't have the greatest drafts anymore. So we got a lot of contracts to deal with, as yeah, we did fire our head coach in the AHL. Let's go to our contract situation. Our head coach hasn't accepted yet, which is a little concerning, but hopefully he accepts soon. Let's see. Okay, so UFA wise, let me go to the RFAs first. Actually, no, let's go to the UFAs. So James Stewart needs a big contract. $30 million in cap space only. Yikes, we are really tight on cap. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bottom of this and start releasing some of these prospects that aren't gonna pan out. Low top 6. When did I draft you? 2nd round. You didn't really develop that well, so I'm gonna let you go. Even though you do have potential. Gonna let go of Mara as well. We are going to sign Orr. And we will sign... do I want to bring back Luongo and stuff? I need to check on how much contracts I have still. And Stapleton. Yeah, we need to make sure we have the right amount of contracts. So I think I'm going to have to let go of like either Dunham or Luongo. or Valen. I might have to let go of a lot of AHL players. I'm going to let go of already, like, Brock Cook. Wait. Yeah, I think I'm already going to let go of Brock Cook. But it's 3 defenders that we're bringing in. So, yeah, I think I got to let go of Morales. Even though Bob Morales has been in the AHL for years, we're going to have to let him go. We're going to have to let go of Kosh, just to make sure we have still the right around roster room. And, yeah, let's go to these NHL players first since they matter more. Okay, so Jose Stewart definitely needs to come back. I'm going to try and get him to a little bit less than this, like for 3 years at 6, if he wants to accept that. Which would put us down to not a lot of cap space, still 24 million if we do that. And then I think we gotta let go of Marty Acker, even though he was a player we literally just brought in. I think I gotta let go of him. Yeah, I think I'm gonna let go of him, and I think I'm gonna let go of Savonin. Now Larson, I was saying we could let go of. He wants 5 mil now, which is a lot. 5 mil as well. And what about Acker? 5 mil. Oh, that's going to be tough. I'm going to let go of Ekman Larson already because he's just a depth pickup. Sedin might be in the NHL this year. He wants a one-way deal, so we're going to see if we could get him into our lineup. And let me see. Oh, man, this is very tough offseason, I can already tell. I'm going to let go of Fast because he's just an AHL starter. We're already letting go of Gustavo Nichols, so thank you for winning us the Stanley Cup, but you could go sign somewhere in free agency because we are definitely not paying you 8.8. It's a little bit too much for me. And in Punos, for 3-year deal, he wants 8. We might have to just give him a 2-year deal because that's the cheapest offer we could give him, pretty much. I'll see if I can give him like only 7 mil, but man, we are going to be very tight on cap space again. Like, we might not be able to sign much free agents this year. Okay, I gotta make sure these AHL ones are good. Let me just go to RFAs. You know what? I think I'm gonna let go of a lot of the UFA AHL players to free up room. I will let go of Luongo. I will bring back Dunham since he has top 6 potential technically, but he's not gonna make it. Valen, top 9. I'm gonna take him over Brock Cook, and then I will also sign Reichel. So those are all our UFAs, pretty much. I need to still figure out about Savonin, Acker, and Larson. Like, those 3 guys, it's going to come down to one of them bringing them back, I think, potentially. And then RFA-wise, let's go to the bottom of this. We'll just qualify a lot of these AHL ones. I might just qualify them all, but to get their asking price a little bit down. Let's qualify those guys. And then Calvin Hobbs, what does he want? 1.6, that's not too bad. I could talk him down to probably like 13 or 1.3. And then Alexandrov, I could do 2 years as well for him, and then we'll talk him to like 14. And Phil Powell is the big one. I know it's 3 years. Yeah, I could give you a 3-year deal. Eventually, we might have to trade away with some players, but that's okay. 3.1. Actually, I'm going to try and see if I can do 3 years at 3. And then goaltending wise, we will disqualify these AHL goalies because they don't matter too much. And unsigned wise, I don't think I'm going to sign anybody, just because we need to make sure we have the right amount of contracts still. Okay, so let's advance today, see if we get all those guys. So we don't have enough budget to sign the head coach. Yikes. Which really, really blows, because losing our head coach means we're going to have to find a new head coach that actually is good enough. Like, this guy's too expensive now to meet our budget. So I'm going to have to find a new head coach after winning the Stanley Cup. Let's just go through this really quickly. There was a lot of rejects in there. And the first one was Stewart. Punos as well. Yikes. And then also Hobbs and Alexandrov. Come on, guys. What if I gave you 15? And then what if I gave you 1450? That's fine with me, at least. Those guys are qualified, which is good. Yeah, we don't have a lot of cap space at all. And Sedin is rejecting still. I'm going to let go of Dunham because he's not re-signing still. But yeah, Jose Stewart, we need you. 3-year deal. We'll give you what you want. See if that helps. And then Sedin, Still wants a one-way deal, which it's a little bit concerning because he's never played an NHL game, but I think he might crack our lineup next season, so I think it's worth giving him a one-way deal. I'll just give him what he wants. And then, yeah, I still got to wait on these defensemen. I feel like the one I want to bring back the most would be Savonin out of the three, but that's because we already have a lot of offensive defensemen with Wall and with Biggs, so we don't really need to bring back Larson. So I think, yes, Savonin might be the best option to bring back, but I will wait for now. Punos, we need to get you on a decent contract. 2 years at 7.2, please accept that. And yeah, let's advance today, see if we get all those guys. And no, we still did not get those guys. God damn it. Come on, Jose. He's actually dropped down to an 82. I think he was like an 83 before. Let's give you a little bit more money, which is something we can't give a whole lot of away. And then also, yeah, we'll do a 2-year deal still for you and give you 7.5. Let's see. Yeah, we have a couple days still. Let's advance a day and see if we get those guys. They're still rejecting. This is really tough. I need Jose Stewart especially. Punos, I could always just find a replacement goalie or re-sign him again in free agency, but my god. Come on. 6.8. Is I need Stewart back. Stewart's like our rock back there. If we don't have Stewart, we are not going to be as good defensively. And let's just do 7.8 for Punos. And then I think it needs to still come down to probably bringing back Savonin and letting go of Acker and Larson. Advance today. And both of them accept finally, in which we have 12 million left in cap space, which means, yeah, we can't bring back all three of those defenders, which is very tough because our defensive core right now, without those three guys, is Wall, Biggs, and Stewart. And then Bertuzzi could, yeah, Bertuzzi's going to be in our lineup this season for sure, which means we have 4 defensemen. So we technically need 3 more defensemen, but one of them is going to be, or 2 more of them have to be roster defenders, and one of them has to be depth. So I think I got to bring back Savonin and let go of Larson and Acker. Or do I let go of all 3 of them? Because they actually are probably the cheapest options available, because I feel like defenders are just going to ask for a lot in free agency. So, yeah, I think we are going to give Savonin the contract, and I think we'll let go of Larson, because Larson in the last few years has kind of struggled defensively. Like, he's been a combined minus 32, and in the postseason this year he was a minus 5. So, yeah, I think we got to let him go. Acker, we only just picked up last year to kind of help us out via the trade with Carolina, and he wasn't really good defensively either for us, so we're going to let both of those 2 walk, and I am going to try and get Savonin back on a 1-year deal, see if he will take a little bit less, like 1 year at 5.3, which would only put us down to like 7 million cap space to find another few more defensemen, and that's pretty much all we would need. Also, we need a backup goaltender, which is not a lot, so we might have to make some trades in next episode. And we do get Savonin back, and then all our RFAs are accepting, it looks like, as well. Yep, they all did, I think, except for Acker, which he should accept soon. Let's just give him the 2-way deal, because the 2-way deal is not going to affect your cap, really. And that is, yeah, that's all those RFAs. So, yeah, we're going to have to let go of Acker and Larson. So, Acker, thank you for playing 1 season with us. You were pretty good for an extra defenseman to kind of help play defensively. Best of luck in free agency. And then Thomas Larson, this one's a little bit of a tough one because he's been with us since the beginning pretty much, since I drafted him. Played 2 really good seasons in the AHL, then came into the NHL, played not as good offensively, but still played somewhat good defensively. Doesn't take a whole lot of penalty minutes either, which is kind of nice. But, yeah, he hasn't been himself the last few years. Also, morale hasn't really helped either. So, best of luck in free agency, Thomas Larson, our former second round pick in 2026. I wonder where he will actually sign in free agency. So, that was a really tough one to let go of, considering he would probably, yeah, he would take up, like, majority of what we have left for cap space. It's not really worth it bringing him back. So, let's take a look at what our roster looks like going into free agency. And then we'll have to take a look at what we need. So, Forward-wise, we got still 4 centers, 5, 6, 7 roster players, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12, I would say, with Sedin. So we could probably use like another couple depth forwards. So I'm going to write this down. So 2 depth forwards. And then defensively, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So we could use one more like dress defender. And then we could also probably find one depth D at least. And then goaltending wise, we do need a backup, or we could try run Maximus Stevenson, even though he's probably not going to be the highest overall. We could always try that. Like, our team might not be that good with a lower backup goaltender, but who knows. So we could find a lot of stuff, but we don't really have a lot of cap space, so we might have to run with Stevenson as the backup, which is a little bit risky, but it might be the one thing we could do. Let's send him to free agency. But yeah, that was a very tough one to do. It sucks that we didn't get our coach back as well. So I think the first thing we're going to do here before we actually look at the free agents is find a new head coach. So this might be a little bit of a longer episode, but we need to hire a new head coach. We only have like just under 3 million in cap space. So we're going to have to go to, let's just look at the scheme fits for all these guys. Actually, let's find somebody that's affordable first. So Seal wants 2.9, which we might have the cap space to get somebody like Robitaille. But Robitaille's not that much of a scheme fit. Rene Grandpierre, 61%. I might bring in Grandpierre. Yeah, I think I might bring Grandpierre in. Yeah, 64. Wait, Hugo Gervais Chouinard. He's an associate coach though. And he's only B rating. Yeah, I think I gotta go with Grandpierre, because he's an A-rated coach as well. So even though he might not sign with us, we're gonna try and get him, because he might be our best option available. So we'll try and get him in as the coach. Really sucks to let go of Palouse, especially after winning us that Stanley Cup. And he's actually been a pretty good coach for us for the last 4 seasons, because he was only an AHL head coach before then, and then we brought him in. And then he wins 47 games his first year, 54 his second year, 48 and 41. And in the playoffs, he was pretty solid as well for the last 2 seasons. The first 2 years, he was not that great, but yeah, he won 1 Stanley Cup. He apparently won 2 Calder Cups as well, which is interesting. So yeah, that really sucks to let him go. Best of luck wherever you sign, Mr. Palouse. So yeah, Grandpierre is going to be the one I offer. Hopefully he is a good addition to this team, if he accepts that. And let's get into this free agency, or take a look at these free agents, and then next episode you guys can let me know what the sign is. Wow, the Sens had to let go of Philippe Couture. Damn, we just played the Sens in the first round, and Philippe Couture is one of their best players. So that's a big loss for Ottawa. Well, I mean, after a first round exit like that, you might as well leave. So let's go to affordable players. We also want to go to, just go to affordable players. And as I was saying, we could probably use 2 depth forwards. So we would probably pick up a depth center and a depth winger of some sort, because that's normally what I do. So we could always just sign anybody cheap. Like, we could just sign randomly like Ashton Corson, but we don't really know much about him. It doesn't really matter about looking at the kind of depth pickups we could pick up. So I'm just going to leave that for now. But if we do need a dressed defenseman, that's probably one of our main needs, other than a backup goalie. If we don't go with Stevenson, we could sign somebody that's relatively cheap for a depth defenseman. This Sullivan guy's pretty cheap, but he does not really match our system. We probably want to find somebody that's like an 80 overall, like Brent McIntyre, who apparently fits our top pairing, but he would probably be sitting alongside of what's his name, Biggs instead. Has this guy ever played in the NHL? Yes, he has. Doesn't seem terrible defensively. What's his takeaway numbers like? He gives up the puck a lot though. I don't really like that, so I feel like he wouldn't be that great of a signing. But that could be still somebody that we pick up. We could always go with Asplund, but he wants 7 mil. Oh man, that would actually take up all our caps, so never mind on that front. This guy wants 6.9. My God. Yeah, this is going to be a very tough to find a defenseman that's relatively cheap. There's an 850 contract. We might just do this guy because this guy's almost like the same thing as Bertuzzi. He's only wanting for 850k. He's 23 years old. He's a UFA as well. Pavel Butsayev doesn't match our system though, is the only problem. But that's the type of player we could probably find is somebody like Innes, who's only asking for like a two-way deal, which might make our defensive core weaker. But if there's anybody you guys see on defense you want me to bring in, let me know. Some of these guys we could sign as depth defenders. Some of them we could actually sign as top 6 defensemen. And then if we want to find a backup goaltender, or if we want to play Stevenson, that's going to be up to you guys as well. But if we want to find a backup, we could probably find, like, we could sign always Sexsmith. Caden Sexsmith is okay. He's a former 6th round pick of the Boston Bruins, a high fringe starter, only 23 years old as well. He is a UFA, and he's relatively cheap, so he might be the best option to bring in as backup while we wait for Stevenson to develop. But that's pretty much what we could bring in. Not really a whole lot, but at least we will be able to replace certain players. And also, losing Connor McDavid isn't as big of a blow to this team, I think, as it looked like on paper, because McDavid was dropping off a bit. Final thing I'll do for you guys is quickly show you guys the trading block in case we need to make any trades in next episode. Yes, that's always an option. I don't really know what we would trade away, but Anaheim has a lot of roster players on the block, so they must be going through a rebuild now. Corbin and Pinelli in Arizona. There is some trade assets available, but it's going to be kind of tough to trade with other teams with our cap space being the way it is. Philippe Guérin is on the block. We have enough cap space to get him, but he would be the only player we'd bring in, and we don't really need forwards, so that's interesting. I wonder if Philippe Guérin will be in a different team by next season. He's actually been really good in Carolina. I don't know if I showed you guys, but he's been playing with like a really good player on the top line in Carolina, and he's almost been point per game with them every single season so far. So yeah, Phil Guérin is doing pretty solid. Maybe he'll be one of the first players of ours that retire that we drafted. What else? Columbus has got some picks. Not really a whole lot after those first few teams, it looks like, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Oh, it's Schroeder's on the block. They decided to put one of the goalies on the block, huh? He's an RFA right now. And Alan Redmond as well as an RFA. Damn, Florida's kind of screwed on that front because both these goalies were pretty good for them in the regular season and playoffs. And now both of them are qualified. What else? Montreal's got some prospects. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot after those first few teams. I don't really even think we will make any trades. I think we'll probably more go for the signing route because it's just going to be really hard to deal with our cap hit. Because like we're going to probably find somebody that we want, and then we're going to find out that they're making too much, and then we'd have to give up a roster player to free up cap space. So, I mean, we could always trade away a contract if we need to free up some space. Like, we could always trade away somebody like Kolimainen, but I think Kolimainen, even though he's dropped down to an 82, he produces like a very good player, so I have no problems keeping him for now, but he still is making a lot of money, so. Oh, there's some interesting players in Vegas. Interesting, including our former player Lucas Raymond. And that's pretty much it. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to free agency, where we're going to sign 2 depth forwards, 1 dress defender, 1 depth defender, and maybe 1 backup goaltender. But we only have $7 million cap space, so who knows if we could get all that in free agency. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you guys next time.